Welcome back to Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. I was in this one about good 12, 13 years old or so, somewhere in there. And long and short of the story was my dad said, we have to mow the lawn or something, and we had a shed that he built in the backyard. Opened the shed up, and there's this little TV, 13-inch Sanyo, I think it was, black and white. And the casing of the TV was white, and it had yellowed even then. And it may have had a replacement cord put on it or something. And he opened the doors to the shed. It was sitting on the floor there, and I said, "Daddy, what's that?" "It's a TV." "Why is it there?" "I found it thrown out." "Does it work?" "Yeah." "What are you doing with it?" Obviously, you know where I'm going with this. I didn't have a TV in my room. Daddy, can I please, can I, can I, you know, on and on. So finally, it was decided, fine. Now, we had cable TV in the house, but this was the old school with the knobs you'd turn, so you get like 2 through 13, and then the UHF, and that's only going to do your 2 through 13 on, and we had analog cable then, back in the day. This going on almost 30 years ago, 27 years ago or so. And we also had cable, we also had analog TV broadcasts over the air. So we ended up drilling a hole in the back of the TV and stuck a pair of rabbit ear antennas that had the thing that's supposed to go in the thing on the TV, but this didn't have it. So we just drilled a hole in the case and popped it in there, and it kind of stayed, and I had rabbit ear antennas, and here I was, 12, 13 years old, and I'm watching Garfield and Friends on WCBS-TV New York in black and white, over the air, analog, on Saturday morning, and it was fucking awesome. I think somewhere I actually had recorded, it had an earphone jack, which I routed into my stereo, and I recorded the theme song to Garfield and Friends off of that TV, and it had like a buzz or a hum. It's on a cassette tape somewhere, which I'll never find, and whatever, but anyway, I had this TV, and I had the rabbit ears, and everything was going fine, but man, I wish I had cable. You get greedy, you know. I wasn't even looking, I didn't want a bigger TV, I didn't want a color TV, but I was just happy to have a TV. Of course, my sister got jealous, and then she ended up getting a set also from my uncle that actually had tubes in it. That set is long gone, but whatever, it still worked. Also like a 13-inch black and white jobby with rabbit ears. So anyway, my parents went away for the weekend, and they had my grandmother come, and she would babysit us kids. We weren't, that young or that old anymore, but Grandma would stay with us. And anyways, I wanted cable, and we had a drop ceiling in the basement, and I happened to know where the cable connections were. And I also happened to know that the splitter that was there was split. I think it was like it was a 4-way splitter, and it split off to this back room called the Florida room, which is kind of this room that I have, although it's not classified as a Florida room. There was a TV out there, which rarely worked. That's another whole story. That TV was awesome. It was a Heath kit, but that's another story for another time. There was a cable going there, cable going to the living room TV, and a cable going up to my parents' room, to their TV. They had a little 13-inch thing. This is my little paper that reminds me of little points in that's flying away. See if I can stick it there. Anyways, my parents went away. Now, I'm 13. I don't know shit about well, I knew a bit about wiring, but I didn't know how to do things properly. You look at it and you're like, kid, that's going to fucking start a fire. That was kind of wiring. But this was cable we're dealing with, so nothing's catching fire. I didn't have coax. I didn't know how to put terminals, F connectors on coax. I didn't know how to do any of this. I didn't have coax connectors. I didn't have $1 to go buy some at Radio Shack back in the day. I didn't have money. I didn't get an allowance. I didn't get shit. So I figured they owe me cable. What I did happen to have was what's called Twinax, Twinax, or twin axial cable, which was mainly used for antennas, maybe even UHF. It seems to ring a bell for whatever reason. I had this spool of Twinax, and it was cut in places, so I peel the insulation back and like twist the wires together and wrap it. I had like green electrical tape or something and whatever. And I had an adapter to go from 75 ohm to 300 ohm where I could put the wires on the terminals and then run that right up to the 2 terminals on the back of the TV, and I would have cable. I wouldn't have cable because it would be, 2 through 13. I didn't have a cable-ready TV, and it was all analog cable in these days. But what I figure I'll start with that, and we'll go from there. Okay. I said, all right, parents are away, grandma doesn't know what the hell I'm doing, so I start popping ceiling tiles. And I said, okay, there's my room over there. Here's the cable connection over here. There's one open. Remember, like I said, it was a 4-way splitter. That one's got to be waiting for me, So there it is, all ready to go. And I said, all I got to do is pop that on, connect it up to the TV, and I'm home free, right? Well, I got to run the wire. So I'm standing on a chair. I don't have a ladder. I don't have the proper equipment. Just everything was hokey at best. The way the lights were installed was, this was a drop ceiling that was put in. They were just the clear modeled panels, plastic panels, that were put in the drop ceiling bays, and up on the floor of the floor above, on the ceiling there, the wood, was a fluorescent light with 2 bulbs, and it would sort of shine down, and a lot of light was lost in the ceiling, but whatever. So I had to cross 3 of those, and I figured, oh, okay, I looked in there, and I said, yeah, I'll just make a clear run. First of all, I didn't think that when you run a wire there, there's going to be a black line going across. So that was mistake number 1. But anyways, I ran the wire somehow, and it took me like all day. And when I got to the end where my room was, I said, okay, now I have to get the wire up. And I remember I had asked my dad how he got the wire up into his room, and he told me that he went along the pipe for the radiator. We had forced hot water, so there are 2 pipes that go up into the radiator itself, one up and then back, and it would just go through it and you'd get heat. Not that he ever put the heat on, but yeah, I couldn't even have that as a kid. Alright, anyway, so I figured being that the heat was never the fuck on, it would be a safe bet having a wire next to it. Considering the fact that he had the wire on in his room, should be a clear-cut thing. Well, I wasn't smart enough at the time to think, maybe you ought to start at your room and run back to where the cable has to connect, rather than going from where the cable has to connect up to your room. So here I am. I didn't know about a wire fish tool or anything. I didn't have or know anything about this as a kid. So I'm looking, and the drop ceiling only got to a point, and then there's like drywall. It was sort of like boxed in, like this much, and it was farther in than that. So I had this long metal ruler, and I had taped the wire to the end of the ruler, and with this wonky ruler, I'm trying for hours. Bang, bang, and then the wire gets mushed, and I pull it out and try to straighten it, and try to stick it back up, and try again. Tried for fucking hours, and I finally gave up. And I said, one day they're going to go away again, and I'm going to get it. Still not smart enough to run down from my room. Well, I don't remember if that day ever came or whatever, and I tried again and still couldn't do it, but one day, there I am, doing my thing, and I hear my dad calling me down to the basement, and he was pissed. He was pissed because, yeah, it was probably the first time I tried, and I never got the second chance, but I think what happened was, when you push the ceiling tiles up, they always get like crumbly, and they weren't falling apart or anything, but you get little crumblies that would fall. I wasn't smart enough to vacuum after, you know, so there was white shit on the rug every here and there. So he saw that, and he called me down there and he said, "What's all this? The white stuff." I said, "I don't know." Then he put the light on. He says, "What the fuck is this shit with the black line going across? What the fuck were you doing in the ceiling?" And he really fucking let me have it. Oh shit. And I said, I just wanted cable. You don't deserve cable, especially after this bullshit. What the fuck? You know, and he starts screaming at me and all this shit. So now I don't have cable and I'm getting yelled at. They didn't believe in grounding us because we didn't fucking have anything to begin with. Rarely went to friends' houses or had people over, so if you got grounded for 2 weeks, big fucking deal. It didn't mean shit. You know? I think they grounded my sister once, but that was short-lived and it never happened again. Anyway, my dad got really pissed and he said, "What the fuck?" He said, "Why did you do this?" I said, "I wanted cable." He says, "Well, I don't think you should have cable." I said, "Well, I think I should." He says, "Why?" Well, I guess I played the right card, because what I said to him was, we have cable in the house. The connection over here, as you probably know, there's one open right there. It's a natural run. Why shouldn't I have cable? And he's like, "Well, I said, "Besides, you're paying for it, and you can watch multiple TVs at once, and this way if I want to watch something that you're not watching in the other room, I can. And this way you're getting more for your money. More people are watching the same cable, and you're not paying any more." And cha-ching! Like I said, I played the right card. And I think he went to take a shower or something, and he came downstairs. He's like, "All right, kid, rip this shit out. Let's do this the right way." And I went up there and I was able to just pull the wire right out. It was no big deal. So I pulled it out, and he had coax, he had connectors, and we ran a wire. And he did it. I said, "I couldn't get the wire up to my room." He says, "Go from your room down." I said, "I tried sticking like a screwdriver or something in there, and we ended up having to get like a pretty beefy something. And the way the hole was drilled, there was a piece of wood, like splinter, blocking it. So I was never going to get the wire up anyway." And I remember he had to take the screwdriver and like bang it with a hammer, and you heard a little splinter of wood like fall in the thing there. And then we ran the wire down from my room and then across. And he said, "All right, you've done this before. Don't fuck up the ceiling tiles and vacuum when you're done." "Yes, sir." You know, and that was that. And he said, "Run the wire not in the lights. Go around the lights." And we had enough wire, and we did it the right way. Maybe he helped me with it, maybe he didn't, I don't remember. And that's how I got cable in my room. But, like I said, the TV only had the 2 through 13 kind of jobby. So turns out, at the time, the cable company said, "Okay, your old cable box, you're going to stop using them, and you're going to use this new one," which had a new feature, a wireless remote. This was new at the time. See, the old one we had was this box like this big, okay? It was like this big, and it had maybe about 10 or 12 buttons on it, and it had a selector for 3 different rows that you could move, and it had on the other side a fine-tune wheel that you could adjust to fine-tune it. Remember, this was analog cable. I said, hey, we have that old cable box. I bet you that still works. And so it was. And I hooked up that cable box, and it had this box, like I said, and it was wired back to the main thing. And the buttons made chunk, chunk, chunk when you press them. And the top row was like 2 through 13. Then you go to the middle, and then you had 14 through like 27, and then 28 through whatever it was. And there were only like 36, 37, 38 channels back in the day, something like that. And that was the deal. And I had cable. And this had to be around 1992 or 93, I'm thinking, because I had gotten this TV cart, TV entertainment unit, I should call it, from Sauder, S-A-U-D-E-R Furniture, that I had bought with birthday money I saved up. It was $60, and I bought it at this place called National Wholesale Liquidators. And I had bought that, and it was a put-together jobby, and I put it together all myself, and I put my TV, my stereo, and all my shit in there, and it was awesome. And somehow, when I put it down, I actually put it on the wire for this cable box. There was plenty enough slack for where I had it by my bed, but when I went to remove this thing, years later, when I got a cable box, another story entirely, which will be in the part 2 of the cable TV series, I had rested it on that wire. So it's sitting on that, and I couldn't lift the thing because it was so heavy to remove it, and somehow it didn't break the wire any. And anyway, I had my cable TV, and that was that. Now, a couple things happened. First of all, my mother was friends with this lady who had a kid, and we went to the same camp together. That's another story entirely, which I'm not going to be recording today, checking my sheet here. But anyway, we went to this camp together, and I knew the kid, he knew me, and she had called on me to sort of babysit him because we kind of got along. He was a few years younger than me, and it was one of those days where she and her husband were going out. They dropped the kid at my parents' house, and I watched him, and we did shit, and I think we walked to the store. We had like a 5 and dime type thing called Triple S, and you could get a piece of bazooka gum for a nickel, and I think maybe I bought him a piece of gum and some M&Ms or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly. And I think the lady paid me like $5 or something like that. But my dad and the husband used to talk because we both had IBM computers. My dad working for IBM for so many years. Hey, I got this software. You want a copy of it? Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, bring over some diskettes and we'll copy it before you leave. And, you know, don't copy that floppy. Well, we sure did. And we had copy 2, which would allow you to get around the disk-based copy protection that you had back in the day. That's another story entirely. I'd like to actually demo that one day, but that's neither here nor there. So we're in my room, and I had an Atari 2600, and we're playing the Atari 2600 on my Sanyo 13-inch black and white TV. Me and the kid. 2-player game. Don't remember what it was. And he walks in, he says, "Okay, I'm here to pick you up, son." "Oh, we're in the middle of a game, Dad. A couple minutes." "All right, fine." And the father says to me, the kid's father says to me, "You know, I got a 19-inch color set if you want it." I said, "What do you mean? For free?" "Yeah, I don't need it." "You're fucking kidding me." I didn't say fucking at 13, but it was like, "You're kidding me." He's like, "Yeah, no, it's fine." My dad caught wind of this. No son of mine is getting color. Here we were, 1993. No color TV for you, son. No. These kids got fucking 27-inch TVs and VCRs and shit. I didn't get shit. So to get something like this was wow. And we went back to his house and we loaded up a 1976, maybe, 19-inch RCA XL 100 color TV set. Holy shit, man. What a difference. Big screen, it was color, and that thing had a host of interesting problems, which I don't know if I'll ever make a video of. It's actually still at my dad's house. It hasn't been powered on in probably 20 years, or if not more. But it worked until the day I discontinued using it. Oh, actually, it went into service in my grandmother's room later on, but that's going to be in part 2 of this series. So that was the story of how I got cable into my room. It kind of just like, I tried and failed, and then my dad's like, all right, kid, let me show you how this is done. And we sort of had like a father and son moment, so that was nice, and I got cable TV, and that was that. Anyways, that was part 1. Part 2 has to do more with cable, but not directly with me, although somewhat related. And that will be in the next installment of Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. So I'll thank you for watching this part. Stay tuned. Don't know when that one's getting posted just yet, but when I post it, you'll be know. Make sure to hit that subscribe. Do that bell bullshit so your fucking telephone rings when I get a video upload. Listen, people, just subscribe. Check your subscriptions. I upload a new video every day. It'll be there. Plain and simple. You don't want to be notified? Don't click the bell. Just know there's another video waiting for you every single day. We'll see you in the next part. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe, all that great shit. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.